Hello, dear audiences. Welcome to the show. Once again, we're talking about politics, politics, and this whole country now is just surrounded by all issues of politics. Among all the political issues, there is one that concerns about lots of people in California. We're talking about AB Assembly Bill 1726, which is said to be very controversial. But how? To what extent? To what extent people feel that they are not equally treated? Or to what extent people feel that they are treated unfairly under the flag of equalization? So, today joining me in the analysis is my good friend for a long time, attorney at law, Chang Byung-Park. So, madam, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And I know that you wear more hats than I could count on yourself. So I would like to give you the opportunity of introducing yourself. Here's your introduction, please.
All right, thank you. I am the American Bar Association and International Section Immigration Naturalization Committee Vice Chair. And so I am also the committee diversity officer for the same committee, immigration committee as well. So that's my current title.
I see.
And also I'm the California State Bar Delegate to ABA House of Delegates. I'm the first alternative.
I see.
These are the two current titles I hold. And but now I'm here. I'm just another ordinary human being.
All right, good.
You know, just yeah.
Sure enough, I said that she wears more hats than I could count. Well, sure enough, there are many hats. And lately, the name of Byung-Park gets more and more popular among us Southern Californians, or especially people who care about our politics. It is for a fact that lately we have noticed that this great woman takes a lead in the vocal of going against this AB 1726. And it was about a few days ago I heard the news that in the capital of California there's lots of protesters and trying to make their voices heard by Governor Jim Brown. So
Jerry Brown, yeah.
Jerry Brown. Well, we want to know a little bit more about it. So recently, where is the bill at? I mean, status-wise.
The status quo is that the bill was Senate back for review again. So it has not been passed yet. The bill has passed the Congress, state Congress. And then also the House Committee, Education Committee of the Senate. And on August 1st, that is the Appropriation Committee is supposed to have a hearing on the bill. And the bill proposer, Robert Bonta, it didn't show up. And the opponents showed up there. Some reason, and the bill was suspended on that day. And then I just checked the bill status a couple of days ago. It shows the bill was remanded for reconsideration.
Was re-amended?
It kind of remanded for reconsideration.
Reconsideration.
So
reconsideration by who?
By the senators.
By the House of Senate.
The senators need to review this bill again.
I see.
Yeah.
I see. So instead of previously, it was said that this bill has passed the House of Representatives.
It does. Yeah.
And also passed the House of Senate.
No, it didn't pass the Senate.
All right, good. So now we clarify, it only cleared the House of Representatives, which is Assembly House.
Yeah.
And to the Senate House, it has not yet passed.
No, not yet.
Very
they
good.
just passed with committees.
Very good,
the committees passed, but
Very
Senate,
good.
no.
And that, could probably be some handle to hold on to, because we see more hopes. Hopes are that the House of the Senate might deny it, might overturn it. Am I right?
Who knows about it? Because I remember when the AB 176, a similar bill, was proposed, a couple years ago. It passed both the Senate and the House. Jeroboam vetoed the bill. So the same guy, Bonta, and come up with another idea, AB 1726, and recruit some other supporters and draft this bill.
I see, I see. All right. Well, I understand that you are not only a vocal, but also educator to the community, right?
Thank you.
I mean, legally, to the legal field. And to many friends of mine, they say the name John Brombark very loudly because that seems to be a source of advices. So to hear this show, though, to my audiences, would you please give us a rough description, like a picture, overall picture about this bill? What does it say? What kind of text does it have?
Sure.
Please, so that we'll see. Oh, yeah, this is the thing we're talking about, right?
If you allow me,
please.
I think the best way is probably is quote the documents from the website from our the government. So here is the text. I printed out.
Yeah, all right.
And I just want to read part of it, and so you can.
Please, the essential part of it.
Yeah,
please.
I just read very small portion of it, so you can learn.
Yeah, sure.
So it say the State Department of Public Health and State Department of Health Care on and after July the 1st, 2017, whenever collecting demographic data as to the ancestry and the ethnic origin of the persons for report that includes the type and amount of health care coverage rating for major disease, leading causes for deaths per demographics, subcategories for leading causes of deaths in California, rural pregnancy rates and the housing members, and whenever the entity collects demographic data as to the ancestry and the ethnic origin of students for a report that includes the students' admission, enrollment, completion.
Yeah, that part I want you to slow down and read it one more time, please.
Okay.
That part, just that part.
Okay.
Referring students.
Yeah.
Admission.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So let me read it from here. So university, the trustees of California State, University or Regents of University of California, on or after July the 1st, 2017, that's about a year later, whenever the entity collects demographic data as to the ancestry or ethnic origin of students for a report that includes student admission, enrollment, completion, or graduation rates. And the Board of the Governors of the California Community College on or after July the 1st, 2020, whenever the entity collects demographic data as to the ancestry or ethnic origin of students for a report that include the students' enrollment, completion, or graduation areas.
I see.
Then see additional major Asian groups.
So we want to understand one thing, that the state resources, people, or department governing the public resources, such as collecting data for medical care, collecting data for education, collecting data for social benefit, or so on so forth, and even people in charge of universities and education in the whole line may take that for decisions of their student recruitment or enrollment. Those are the organizations that might want to use the data, right?
Right, true.
I see.
Yeah, that means all these the college staff member have to record this data for the purpose of enrollment, completion, and graduation. They want to know how many students gets admitted and graduated.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
Okay, now, on the other side of the coin, though, we find that it is also not only these organizations would have to refer to that data by the year of 2020, but also the data itself shall include, instead of Asian or Pacific Islanders or
This is,
API.
I haven't finished reading yet. They say, in addition to the duties imposed under Section 8310.5, the state agencies described in Subdivision A in the course of collecting demographic data directly or by contract as to the ancestry or ethnic origin of California residents shall collect and tabulate data for the following. Number one, additional major Asian groups, including but not limited to Bangladesh, Hmong, Indonesian, Malaysian, Pakistani, Sri Lanka, Taiwanese, and Thai. Number two, additional major native Hawaiian and other Pacific Islander groups, including but not limited to Fujian and Tongan.
All right. Okay. Now, that I started to see a relatively clearer picture about what this bill wants to do. So, in other words, in addition, instead of naming us as Asian Pacific Islanders, right? We are specified into smaller groups.
The Asians and Pacific Islanders are subdivided into more categories.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah.
We're being divided into smaller groups,
Right.
according to our ancestry,
Right.
Our bloodline or whatever.
Right.
And the fat guy is one group, thin guy is one group, all right?
Right.
And with double chins, one group. With triple chins, one group. Is that so? Is that the way you want to do what?
Well, this is the question I have in my mind. The bill itself doesn't say I discriminate you. It doesn't say you belong to second class or third class. It doesn't say that. So, but the question in my mind is that now, what's the purpose of collecting these data? What are you going to use it? Why do you want the college to collect these data? Why do you want the hospitals to collect these data? The second question that I have is, why do you subdivide the Asians and you subdivide the Pacific Islanders into Fijian and Tonga? There's a lot of...
How many Tongas we have in the United States? Do we even know?
I
swear to God, I first time heard this
Tonga.
This Tonga term.
Yeah, Tonga in Chinese is Tangjia.
I know that. I know that. And Tonga and Tangshan, how about that? Right? And how about Fushan? And how about my hometown, Fushan? Or Penglai, how about that?
Right.
So that doesn't make sense. Okay, now let us take a very short moment now. When we come back, I have more questions to ask, right? So by asking questions, by looking for answers to those questions, you will probably get to the point of the bill rather than just look at the bill itself. All right, so stay with us. Hello, my dear folks. Welcome back to the show. Jack Chow on the East West Show, discussing about the AB 1726, the bill, this very controversial bill that caused lots of rebounds from people at all levels, especially in Southern California, because it is talking about California. It concerns California. Joining me today is my good friend, a friend to the community, a fighter to justice, attorney, John Byung-Park. And she is a wonderful lady that I adore, who I adore for having the guts to do what she believes is right, and we believe what is right. So we're talking about this AB 1726. I have more questions, like I said, to ask you, right? Okay. Before we give a conclusion to the nature of the bill, we'd better ask questions, right? Okay, now, so to be politically right, as the slogan has it, does AB 1726 call for collection of the same data in the same manner for other races? All right. Now, take Europe for example. The Germanics, right? The Slavs, okay, and the Celtics. And among the Celtics, we're talking about Scottish, the Irish, and Welsh. And in Northern Europe, we're talking about Scandinavians and the Baltics, the Islanders and the Icelanders, Dutch and Polish. Do we do that? If not, why?
That's the question I have for the legislators. I mean,
Uh-huh.
I cannot find an answer.
All right.
So I don't know why.
Do they or has anybody or the bill writer, did you get a chance to see this great man for some answer, please?
No, I unfortunately haven't met him.
Uh-huh.
And I believe on Facebook he posted something. He literally is saying he was disappointed that he was misunderstood by by some of the Chinese
No,
protesters.
exactly. We are trying to understand him. We're trying to prevent misunderstanding about him. That's why we're asking. Why wouldn't he answer questions such as my question? Take the say Scandinavian, for example, right? So within Scandinavians, you have Scotlanders, you have Dutch, right? And you have Polish. You have all kinds. And within Polish, you still have the subgroup, as small as the Tongkai, as Yentai, right? Like that. If you really want to do that small, though, how about my hometown, Fushan? Right?
How about divided the Jiangsu province?
Yeah,
from
Jiangsu province.
Nanjing or Wuxi or
Nanjing,
you're from?
Wuxi, or yeah, sure.
You
can do, and the list goes endless. There is no end for the whole thing.
Right.
You can go. I'm not joking when I say we can subgroup people. Say double chains, group 1, all right?
All right.
Single chain, group 2, and triple chains, group 3, like that.
Got it.
Right? So we can do that. Why can we? The question is that why can't we do that to Europe? Number one, right? Number 2 question is when you do that though, what do you want that for?
Oh, that's the question. That's the question in my mind.
No answer yet.
No, I haven't got any answer. But literally, I've never met the Bontar and in person.
How about their spokesman? They are supposed to be responsible to the public. They are entitled to answer our questions.
They're saying that we collect the data for
For what?
For the benefit for these
benefit?
groups.
Such as?
Because we know the differences, we can allocate the resources better, the medical resources, or educational resources better. That's the general answer.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Among 100 people, for example, Chinese.
Right.
For example, Chinese. Okay, now, among 100 Asian Americans, for example, there are 50 Chinese, 25 from Malaysia, right? 10 from Vietnam, right? Or 2 from Bangladesh or something, so on and so forth. So how do you want to do it? And then those are the given numbers, and then you want to do it per capital count, or you want to do it per group? You want to do what do I want to do?
And the other issue that that bothers me is that what happens? Somebody have the mixed blood, 50%.
Oh yeah, of course. That's my next question.
But how about the person immigrated to China, and he is a Korean, but do you call it the guy is Korean or Chinese or Chinese immigrant to Japan or somewhere? Do you call him a Japanese or Chinese? But the other issue that bothers me is that if these data are not used for any purposes, and these data are useless, as you're wasting the taxpayer money. If we are saying we're going to use these data to link it to the admission rate of the college, that really piss off almost everybody.
Even by that application, I do not believe they could find a way to apply it rightly or properly or purposely. I don't know. It doesn't work that way, right? And to me, I'm no politician. However, I follow logic. The logic is, number one, when you create something, it has to be a call there that calling us to create that thing, right? Number 2, the thing that you create has to make sense. And number 3, you have to explain to the public why you create it. Right? And number 4, you have to show to the public how you want to use it. So any answer to the 4 questions that I raised?
But I haven't met him in person. I haven't met any relevant registers in person. So unfortunately, I didn't get an answer because I never met them. I never asked the question. But obviously, a lot of the other people posed the questions, and then their office is well aware of that. And the only general response I gather from the internet is that this is just for the better use for the allocating the resources in the.
I know how, but how?
I just
That's
the question. I mean, I don't know. I don't get a good answer for that.
I see. And you're gonna put up a school for from China, specifically from Wuxi, right? Another school specifically for Chinese who has ancestry of Nanjing. All right. How about somebody from Nanjing marries somebody from Wuxi, giving birth to somebody who ends up marrying somebody from Canton.
Right.
And together they come to the United States. They get divorced, and then the girl marries not one
American or somebody
or Caucasian, and the other marries African Americans.
Right.
How about that?
Yeah. That's how do you divide
the
it?
whole thing doesn't make any logic. That is my concern.
Well, I mean, your series of questions literally expose the why some people will oppose this bill, and that's the very reason.
Right.
And then the other issue that really bothers me, why the ancestry will decide your fate.
Okay.
Rather than yourself, because just because I was born in certain kind of family, or just because my grandfather is Chinese or whatever it is, why I should be affected.
All right. Good.
Right? But I cannot decide my own fate.
Sure.
Because my fate is sealed.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
All right.
Because there's something you cannot change it.
Okay.
That's why we call it.
All right, my dear friends, my dear audience, my dear friends who love California, and I really get confused. I'm I'm super confused about where we're heading with those politicians who are, to me, who seem to be kind of ill-minded, I call them, because they do not, number one, they cannot answer my question. Right? And number two, there is not a logic line that I can follow. Right? So now, with me today is my good friend, attorney at law, Chang Byung-Bark, and she is a hero. She's a heroess of this wonderful time. And I understand that she led her, oh, by the way, you're kind of doing something like Dr. Martin Luther King did.
Oh, don't say that. Okay,
anyway,
that's too much for me.
By orientation.
Thank you.
By orientation, it sounds that way. At least if you guys go in the same direction, that we adore. Let's take a very short moment now. When we come back, I have questions from the other end to talk about. All right, good. Hello, my dear friends, my dear audience, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show. I would say hello, my fellow Californians. Welcome back to the discussion about California per AB 1726, joined by my good friend, attorney-at-law Chang Byung-Bark, a wonderful individual. She's a leader of this, I call it the campaign, going against the
I'm not the leader. Don't say that. Really, truly, I'm not the leader.
You're leading something, right?
Well, I was invited to make a speech. That's what about
it.
Yeah.
Yes, good. And you were invited to make a speech. Can you say something about your speech, please?
Sure.
And I would like to quote unquote something from you, if you would give me the permit.
Sure, I will give you the permission. But anyway, I just want to touch upon that before I made a speech. I wrote a letter to Governor Jerry Brown about the questions that I have for the bill, and I literally pointed out the bill violates the constitutional law of the United States and state constitution as well, and I have concern that data might be misused. So on August the 10th, 2016, some of the Chinese group leaders invite me to make a speech in front of the state capitol, and literally I stood by and say that this is a very important day for the Chinese in California, because this is the day that we Chinese Americans gathered together in front of the state capitol to break the silence. And I try to point it out, this is a monumental step forward for the Chinese to demand equality and fundamental fairness. And I also pointed out that, the dreams, a lot of people touch upon the Martin Luther King's dream. I say that I'm an immigrant, and also I have my dream, and also I help the immigrants to fulfill.
You
the
have
American
the same dream. We have the same
I
dream.
have
All the
I
same
have the
dream.
same dream as the
Yes.
Martin Luther King.
So
and
do
I
mine. So yeah.
I wish the person should not be judged by the color of the skin, but by the content of the character.
All right.
And so this bill literally runs against the letter and spirit of the American dream.
All right.
So, and in the end, the color doesn't matter, your gender doesn't matter, your country origin doesn't matter. What really does matter is your desire to succeed. This is the American dream. That means I don't care where you come from. Once you're here, you're American. Once you're American and you work hard, and you will be successful.
Okay, very good. Okay, very good. And those are very strong points, and I would say they speak louder than anything else, right?
Right.
And I said just now when we were wrapping up the last segment, I do not want to get angry or upset with whatever. I just want to go step by step to check element about element, element after element about this bill to see exactly what's behind. It is the core value that's behind the bill that I want to get out, get it out right now. Let's put it this way. You see a lab, right? There's a lab. In the lab, there is a cage. In the cage, there is a little mice, right? And when this mice goes this way, trying to find a way out, there is no way. And then it goes this way to try to find a way out. Yeah, just assume that we are the one in the cage. Let's try the other end if there is any way out.
Right.
How about that, right?
Right.
Okay, the other end is that at the end of the day, when I find out that you from Shanghai, I from Yantai, okay, so what?
Right.
So what? And my assistant from Dalian, and my camera girl from I forgot to check with her where she's from. She's from, say, from Xinjiang. And then, end of the day, what are we gonna do
Right.
with the information?
Well, they might say if you're from Xinjiang, you might tendency to have more disease in certain category of diseases, more susceptible to certain kind of disease.
So are you discriminating me because I'm from Xinjiang?
Or
Or
not.
are you just making your decision according to medical records? Right?
Right.
How about if my blood says I have disease,
Right.
then I do.
Right.
Right?
Right.
By looking at my ancestry and who my father mothers were, and it doesn't make any sense. Otherwise, you're discriminating me. If you do not agree with me that you are discriminating me, tell me what? What else?
Right.
Am I right?
Right.
Okay, now,
True.
among the four of us, we have Sophie from Dalian, we have you from Wuxi, for example, and we have my camera girl from Shanghai, for example, and I am from Shandong, for example. And then, what difference would make at the end of the day if you are not trying to discriminate any of us?
True.
Anybody can answer that? And my audience is anybody can answer that. Anybody who are in support of that bill can answer that. I just challenge you. I just challenge anybody. I challenge Governor Brown. I challenge the bill writer. I challenge all the proactives of that bill. Give me the answer, please. There is none. Am I
But
right?
don't challenge Jerry Brown. I think he is opposing the AB.
I demand.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
demand. I
yeah.
call him to veto. That's
Right,
exactly
right,
the
right,
title of the show, right? To veto
Right.
it.
Yeah, the
so,
veto.
other than that, we don't find anything,
Right.
right?
Right.
So what would somebody wearing a blackface do, and what do you want to do with them, right? To differentiate him from that people like me wearing such a face. right? And yesterday, I give you an example. Yesterday at the restaurant, we ordered a table bread, which is garlic bread that we like, right? It never came till the very end. We finished all our food, and our neighbor booth, they are being served. They came much later than we did, right? They were being served. They all served. Ours didn't come. I said, "May I speak to your manager, please?" And then first question I raised to the manager, you know what I said? Is it because I wear a different face from yours? The manager with so much on alert. Oh, no. I'm sorry. And your meal's free today. No. I said, I pay, I have the money, but I want you to answer to it. Otherwise, put my bread on my table. That's it.
Right.
All right?
Right.
It's a long due. It's a long due thing. So now, are you collecting the data to make sure that people like me get 5-minute service and people like somebody else get 3-minute service? Other than that, what else do you want?
That's why we're here. You know, that's why we're here. We're discussing the bill. It's not very clear. That's why the bill was sent back to review.
Okay.
Probably, you know, the proponents would need to make the bill stronger to pass it. And Bonta-Lurie, you know, just is very determined to push this bill forward.
One thing for sure that I know that thanks to the fact that you guys, your group, made it so vocal, it is more or less heard by Governor Brown, right? And I believe he does by this moment. Right?
I'm pretty sure he is well informed of all the proponents and opponents.
And also, by the way, my dear friend, she and I personally, we have lots of disagreement, but on this one, I 100% support her. And for that she writes letters. Not only that, she encouraged people to write letters to Governor Brown to let Brown know what his people thinks about. Right? What the people he's governing thinks about. So people don't like it. So when your people don't like it, you better veto it. Am I right? So for that letter, for that movement, I give you 100% support.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure. My dear audience, today we're talking about AB 1726. Number one, I'm no politician. Number two, I do not want to go to the details of word, commas, whatever, sentence or period on the bill. I'm talking about what's behind the bill. What's the purpose? Okay. Now, let's take a short moment out. If we may put something together, for example, SCA 5 and AB 1726, do they have anything in common or similar? Let's find out. Please stay with us. Hello, dear friends, dear fellow Californians. Welcome back to this serious discussion about AB 1726, which is a crazy bill, so controversial that lots of people not only write letters to Governor Brown, but they gathered at the protest rally to the capital of California. Well, we go back and forth on several issues, and why would them politicians let us live a peaceful life? Right? So the reason I'm saying that is because 2 years ago, if you recall, there was one bill, okay, it's SCA 5. California resolution, state resolution for the constitution rewrite or something, the SCA 5 and this bill. And I noticed that in way of going against these two bills, people feel to the same extent they're offset, right? They're upset, right? So to your eye, an attorney, a law, Beyond Bark, she is very experienced. She is the chair of many state and federal and national legal group. So to your eye, though, what do SCA 5 and AB 1726 have in common?
They have in common is the education part, and they require the regents of university and trustee of the board to do something to collect the data. The difference is that sort of AB 1726 bring in the medical background, so literally it require the medical hospitals to collect data as well. So it looks like it's a benevolent bill. They try their best to show that we have good intention to care about you. I mean, I don't deny it. I fully recognize the the goodwills from the legislators. I don't mean to criticize any one of them. I don't want, I never argue with them. I never want to embarrass them for whatever the reason. And I truly believe they have good intention. But somehow, some of the bill, even you have good intention, we have a saying, the road to the grave is paved with good intentions. That means you might mean you want to do something good. It might end if you didn't think through, the result can be very controversial. I'm not saying it's bad; it can be controversial. So what we do is that try to let the legislators know that our concern, maybe they can modify the bill.
All right. Number one, I do not, respectively, I do not agree with you that the intention was good. We let it suspend in there for a little bit before we come to a conclusion if the motivation was good or not. Right? We don't talk about that. We just find enough evidence to indicate that it's good. But unless we find many strong points that supports the idea that the motivation is good, and then the motivation is bad. Am I right? Okay, now, you mentioned about education. You mentioned about school enrollment, right? Okay. SCA 5 was overturned because it totally takes the single area of education, say, hey, you have 12% of population, and then your enrollment goes no more than 12% or something like that.
I think we discussed that before.
Of course.
It was you with the SCA 5.
Not only discussed. 2 years ago in the summer, we were busy on this one for the whole summer, am I right? It kept everybody busy.
No, I didn't went to the protest or demonstration. I think the only thing I did is you.
No, I'm on the show.
Yeah, we talk about it on
you
the show.
You and me,
yeah,
right?
Yes.
Now, okay. So for this 12%, now that your population takes 12% of the entire by head count, and then at my school I take no more 12%, right? And then for that, what if the student goes to 16? And then the extra 4, okay, I'm sorry, you went over with your quota. Everybody has a quota, right?
Right, true.
Okay, now, AB 1726, if it doesn't have a quota, what else can you find to explain the word to use at a school enrollment?
Right, that's one. That's my question. So what's the purpose? Why do you need to collect the data for the enrollment, for the admission?
Okay. Sure.
If we are not use it for the like affirmative action, people will worry about affirmative action because they worry about. And right now, the Chinese students have very high percentage of admission rate, and they do worry about if you have the affirmative action, where you will have less Asian students being admitted, into the college. As I say, I am very concerned about the affirmative action in certain kind of area. It's good in certain areas.
But affirmative action was overturned by California through vote in 2009. That's history already. Why people try so much
they want to overturn.
That's
what I'm saying. They try to overturn the Proposition 209. That's the purpose. So SCA 5 is designed to overturn the Proposition 209. It failed. It was a very strong opposition from the Chinese. So there's some efforts to do. They cannot do it so obvious as SCA 5. But if they can achieve the same effect of CA5, that's not a benevolent bill either.
I see. In other words, if we take a start from Affirmative Act, right, and which was overturned with 209, And then SCA tries to overturn
Right.
209.
Right.
When SCA failed to solve, and there is a 1726 goes in a sequence to revitalize SCA 5 or to revitalize the Affirmative Act, going all the way back to page number 1 as we started. Is there a trend we're going back to the slave days? What?
No, that's serious, right?
I'm very sorry. This is a very
yeah.
scary picture. Am I right?
Right.
Okay, now, you know what, John? To tell you a very terrible picture, right? Suppose at the entrance of a supermarket, right? You take a note about how many of your customers wearing blackface, how many of your customers wearing my kind of face, and vice versa. The list goes on and on. What would a customer ask? What do you do that for? What do you do that for?
Right. Right.
Okay, now we're asking, what do we do? What do you do that for?
Right.
So the best point is, I strongly recommend that you guys and you group go meet this guy, this bill writer, to ask him, to ask him why.
Right.
So that's the best way to get to the root point, right? Root point. So if they say, okay, at the step of supermarket, if they do things the other way, how many people leaving the market with a smiling face, right? How many with an angry face, right? How many with a longer face, right? And that probably make some sense. And how many of them, after entering the supermarket, goes to the food area? And how many to the other areas at certain areas? That makes sense. We understand. We shoppers will never ask.
Right. Right.
Now, if they pay the weight scale at the entry, say above 180 go this way, below 180 go that way, and at that way below 160 go the other way. What for? They will ask. So this is a very risky situation, my dear audience. Is to be politically right. That's exactly the area that I want to touch with you, right? It is very, very risky, very risky. I bet this guy, number one, he might be having nothing to do. Oh, come on, let's be creative. That will be the kindest assumption. Or otherwise, say, let's be creative. Let's be politically right. People from Jack Chow's hometown needs representation too. Needs equal representation. Am I that? Do you think, John, is it possible to get in touch with the bill writer?
It's
or
possible.
I can, from my point, from my angle.
Of course you can. And
as a media man?
You can, yeah, of course. You can contact his office. If you are so interested in that, I propose as a media person, a journalist, you can call his office and make an appointment to meet him or talk with him on the phone to get some feedback from him. And it seems to me he's pretty determined to push the bill forward. If he's worried, if the Jerry Brown gets denied it, he's going to try to come up with another bill. So it's like whatever the FEC put, he's very determined to push this.
Yeah, that would not surprise me, because you have the Affirmative Act and then you have the 209 overturns it, right? When you have 209, you have the SAA 5 that tries to overturn 209.
Right.
And when SAA 5 failed, then you have 1726. So suppose 1726 failed, there could be 1725 or 29, whatever. It goes on and on.
It's going to be on and on.
Yeah, there is always a trend.
My concern, of course, some people start to complain there's too many Chinese in the college. That's the problem.
Okay, let's do this. I'll ask my office to draft the bill writer an invitation letter to accept my interview to answer my questions. Suppose he can. So once this bill writer accepts that invitation, you want to join me with him? I'm going to send you an invitation too. Either here or together we go to his office, or together we make a conference call.
That's fine with me.
You want to do that?
Yeah.
Okay, very good. My dear audience, I'm the man, I'm the root man. When I say root man, when I see an issue, I go to the root. I call myself a root man. For Mr. Root Man, I make a plan right now. Right now, I'm really making a plan to have my office, my group, contact the office of the bill writer to accept an interview, either to have him come here or we together, I'll take my crew to his office, whichever is more convenient to him, or somewhere, sometime like a phone conference, telephone conference, to talk about it. I have questions to ask. Question number one would be that, like say, why wouldn't you do that same thing with Europe? All right? And the Latin Americans.
Right.
Brazilians, Chileans, and Cubans, or whoever. And among Cubans, you have 100 Cuban groups, I will promise you.
Right.
And then, so you will have nothing, you will have no time to do anything else but subdividing all the groups. Okay?
Yeah.
So we make a deal, we are making a deal, and sounds the deal is made. And when I invited him to come here, and my good friend, Madam Bjornbark, will join us, or when we go to Sacramento, we will have her come along with us, or when we do a telephone call and the phone conversation, I'm in the conference, we'll have her with us too. So my dear audience, I really demand that you join us, join the fight. I normally stand in the middle of the road, but on these ones, I would not. I can't afford it. I cannot afford it because I'm worrying my son marrying a Caucasian to have a grandson born of no home, of nowhere to go, right? I'm worrying about that. So we're over time already. My dear friend, I have 30 minutes to give you to call upon people what to do, please.
All right. What do you want me to say?
Yeah, whatever you want my audience to do.
Oh, what I really want is that go back home and study the ABA 1726 and, figure out what, if you can, figure out what's the purpose behind the bill.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. If you do find it's a benevolent bill, I mean, I don't want to challenge you. It doesn't hurt me. But if you find it's controversial and, act on that because you're you're part of the California, feel free to contact the legislators and about your concerns. At the end, we don't want to split this nation.
How about calling Jerry Brown's office?
I don't want to harass his office just to make phone calls. I mean, I don't like that, to be honest with you. I really like Jerry Brown. I really admire his talent, and I respect him. I respect all the legislators as well.
Okay.
But, if you want to oppose that, I think a couple of things you can do. And I know there is somebody on the change government petition. You can sign on that, or write a letter to Jerry Brown's office. You can contact the assemblyman of California and voice your concern, and that's how we participate in the running of this country.
Sure. All right, okay.
Because we see ourselves as the masters of this country.
My last question is that do you think there is a chance, or how likely is the chance that Governor Brown vetoes it?
You're lucky I don't have a crystal ball. He might veto it, and in light of the circumstances, he vetoed AB 176. He might veto 1726 again. But however, they need to come up with 2/3 of votes from both House, the Senate and the Assembly, to overturn the veto.
I see. All right. Okay, my dear audience, thank you for watching. And today we had a very wonderful time, and I owe my appreciation to my good friend Chang Bjornbark. Madam Bjornbark is a very wonderful individual in Southern California, known to everybody. And she's a writer, she's a fighter, and to me, she's my heiress. All right, so we'll see you again on this very issue. Thank you very much.